how to warm up your voice for a podcast. Let's talk about that. You won't go into a sports game without warming up properly. So why would you go into a long podcast, webinar, social speaking event without warming up your voice properly? Today we will be talking about some tips and tricks that we use ourselves, maybe or maybe not, or anything that we found that could be of potential value to make your voice sound a little bit better and avoid injuries, because yes, also with your voice you can suffer from maybe not such big injuries, but some injuries. So hey Darren, I hope you're doing good.
Hey, yeah, Marcel, I'm doing good, thank you. It's a great topic as well, this.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, although it's not as serious of a topic that we would normally talk about, I think it's a more funny topic, but still brings a lot of value to people that do speaking for a living or just on the side. And that's the reason why we wanted to talk about that some more today. Darren, so first off, what is your own experience? Obviously we did, and for the people listening that are new, we did a podcast before the Brain Bites, and was on for 2 blazing popular seasons, top of the charts. No, just kidding. But we did a podcast for a very long time, and now we're into the video sessions. How you call it?
Yeah.
yeah. So, what are your tips and tricks that you used yourself, and what knowledge and experience did you gain over the time?
I think the first thing, I always have my water, so always have some water nearby. So if I need to cough, if I have a dry voice, and then I've got something there straight away that I can just have a quick drink just to overcome that challenge. Sometimes I'm trying not to have coffee on the morning, or things like scratchy food like toast, because that can irritate your throat. And
I'm drinking coffee every single time I start the podcast. Maybe that's why my voice sounds so cracky.
Well, it is a really great topic, because I've never really researched it as much as I have done for this podcast. And apart from having the water and just through past experience of avoiding scratchy foods, I suppose the other things that I naturally do is just make sure you have a good night's sleep before you have a presentation, which sounds really obvious.
That's one I can definitely recommend out of own experience as well. I mean, in terms of, obviously this is more related to your voice, but also it helps pronunciation and all that stuff, and also the tone of voice as well, in terms of how you just sound, and that's important. Right. Okay, so you also talked about the dry cough. I can remember that sometimes 1 or 2 times it happens during a podcast, during our podcast as well. And so it's best to avoid all these kinds of stuff that you just summed up. Drink water, maybe if you have an irritated voice or a little bit of a cold, drink some tea with honey, obviously, is what they always recommend. How did you, in the situations in which you had let's call it a tight situation, how did you solve it when you really had to cough? And this can be during a webinar, podcast session, or just during a live speaking event. How did you solve that?
I try to swallow. So like, you can just feel like a cough is going to happen. So try to actively swallow, or try to get some juices in your mouth, and like just get your mouth salivating. So if you're talking a lot, sometimes your mouth can just get quite dry. So sometimes just doing that with your mouth sometimes you can get some, if you haven't got water nearby, that's a natural way you can get something into into your mouth to kind of overcome this kind of dry mouth problem. But otherwise, it really is trying to plan in advance. If you know it's a warm day, then again, that's another situation. Sometimes you might be going into different climates. So you might be going to an air-conditioned room, which is very, very cool, but you've come from a very warm environment. For me, that definitely irritates my voice. So therefore, I know I start to cough because there's a big change in temperature. So it's an interesting. I have not really researched much more than that. I know it's an issue for myself, so it might be for others as well. So that's how I overcome it.
And the next thing and this is funny because, the drinking part, maybe, that makes a little bit sense. And I think I've done it time to time, although I drink coffee before I head into a podcast, something like that. I just like it to be sharp. And during the podcast, sometimes I drink some water. But also, warming up your voice is a perfect way of doing that as well. So there are apparently some tongue twisters, if you have to say it like that. I wanted to read one. I have, obviously, I don't do this myself, but I've written it out. So let's see. Do you want to go with an easy one or a ultra hard one?
Let's go for an easy one to start with.
All right. So 6 sick hicks nick 6 slick bricks with picks and sticks.
Wow.
Gosh. Okay. I might have to send it over because I want Darren to give it a try as well. So I send it over in the chat. And after that, we're just heading straight into the ultra hot one. And you have to say, if you say this one multiple times after one, repeat this one multiple times, then it helps with the pronunciation of words. And definitely, I'm not originally English myself, so I think this is a great tip that I will be dragging along before I head into these video recordings. And you will not see me doing unless you see me in real life, seeing this before the podcast. 6 sick hicks nick 6 slick bricks with picks and sticks.
Oh, done. That's amazing.
All right. Now let's. I want you to give it a try as well. Then we will be doing the ultra hot one, and then let's just head on to the next thing that the next tip. So did you saw it in the chat?
Yep.
Did you already? Okay. This is Darren giving it a try. Everybody pay attention.
6 sick hicks nick 6 slick bricks with picks and sticks. Oof.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
A little bit of a pause in between now. I think I'm trying to be careful what I say.
Yeah. All right. So let's go with the ultra hot one. Let's see how we do. So, this is a little bit more. 3 sweet swish witches watch 3 wash swish witch watch switches with sweet. Yeah, there we go. Sweet switches switch witch watches witch wash swish witch watch switch. That's what it says exactly. Well, Darren, I'm waiting for you to give it a try as well.
Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 3 sweet switch Swiss watches. Watch 3 wash Swiss watch which what which watch switches which sweet switch Swiss which watches which wash Swiss which swatch watch what switch. It's really hard.
Oh wow. Yeah, it is really hard, but it's really funny, and I think I kind of believe that it will definitely help out with the pronunciation, because we are already quite struggling. If we have done this before the podcast, probably we would do this smoothly. So it's a good thing to remember.
Definitely.
So
we'll put this down in the chat as well, so in the comments as well, so you can practice.
And you can give it a go yourself,
yeah.
Definitely. And if you want to share it with us, definitely send it over an email to us on how you did with the recordings, or over the socials, whatever. We would love to see it. So the next thing that I think really makes sense, and I'm not sure if you do that as well. There, it's like stretching out. Oh,
good tip.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in the ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah. As funny as it sounds, it's pretty logical. So just make sure you have a deep breath. Did some breathing exercise. You don't have to do elaborative breathing exercise, but it might be helpful, along with some mouth exercises. And this is something I didn't do myself before, but yeah, apparently it helps out. So try not to laugh, but basically one was the same thing as a horse does, like. And then for a very long time, it basically what it does, it makes the blood flow through your lips much more. Makes sense actually once you do it, and stretch out your mouth as well, like mwah, something like that. Mwah.
Don't do freeze framing on that.
Well, yeah, probably. I hope there will be no memes made of that, but probably the thumbnail. All right, so those are the ones that I've written out. To be fair, I used the stretching, maybe not so, maybe with the mouth as well. That I was like, did something like that before, but most of them I didn't do, and we thought it was a fun topic to talk about, and definitely worth to share it, because if it helps you improve, it's very simple tricks and tips. So, Darren, is there anything that you do extra that we kind of summed up right now?
I think just a couple of quick ones. Avoid smoking. If you smoke, try not to smoke, because that's an obvious one. Hopefully many people don't smoke now. But alcohol as well, again, sounds a bit obvious, but maybe if you're having a celebratory meeting or presentation, people might be sort of drinking along the way, so maybe try to avoid that, because that would definitely sort of dry your throat. And another one is
true, but it also makes up for great moments to do speeches and stuff like that. I have experienced myself, but it's true. Yeah, it's all about the. Okay, sorry. Please.
No,
so
yeah, you're right, because it can relax you as well. The last one is...
It's the tension as well.
Yes.
That's a big thing as well. Loosen up your shoulders. I forgot that one.
Yeah.
Really. Whew.
Yeah. No, it does. I think you're right. Some of us, when we get into these some of us find public speaking really tense and really uncomfortable.
Yep. I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
We don't see you. You seem very natural.
Yeah, it's true, but somehow it's performance pressure, I guess, as well. In terms of, you just want to make sure that you do it in the best way possible. But I think I got better at it a little bit. I don't do public speaking very often. Never, actually. But I do enjoy it with a group of people that I'm familiar with. But if it's people that I'm not familiar with, somehow, I don't know. It brings a little bit more attention to it. But that makes sense as well, some way.
I think a tip somebody gave me once, I was talking this year, and I had to, this for the first time, I can present in front of hundreds of people, never a problem. But this time I actually had to stand on a stage, and that was very different, because I hadn't done that for a long time, and that made me, because I'm quite tall anyway, so then I was even taller, and it was a really massive room with a small amount of people. That was actually quite tricky for me to do. So the tip somebody gave me was always look to the back of the room and just move your head left to right. So it looks like you're scanning the room, you're looking at people's heads, but actually you're not making eye contact with them. You're just looking at the back of the room, and you might have your notes with you to one side, but you should be clear, or you hopefully feel confident, clear in your head. You know what you're kind of talking about, and talking fairly. I talk quite fast. I know I'm quite guilty of that, so I do try to slow it down. But that's another thing as well, so maybe try to slow down your voice, but I say I do struggle with that. It's something I need to improve, but definitely scanning the room really works, and not looking at people in the face if you get nervous, because that will help you overcome that problem.
Yeah, I think, and the nervousness is also very natural.
Yeah. But try to enjoy it as well. It's a great experience. If you get the opportunity to do a podcast or webinar, or you're talking to people, it's a really good experience. So give it a go.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that were some great tips for today. Pretty helpful. Try them out. Let us know if they were helpful and helped you out during your podcast or live speaking event or whatever it is you did. We love to hear that. Definitely don't forget to subscribe to our channels. Definitely tag your friends as well if you really liked what we're doing here and if they could potentially get value out of this as well. If you have any questions, definitely send us an email and we will talk with you next time.